Geralt, I've been waiting for you. Visenna.
How much for this beast?
In this video, I'll discuss the events of The Witcher Season 1, starting from the oldest events to the most recent ones, so stay tuned for that. Hello everyone, welcome to Ultimate Book Maniacs, your one-stop for book and TV series reviews. Ever since The Witcher has been released, one of the biggest complaints it has gotten from the fans was that the timeline was very confusing. Just like Westworld, The Witcher also showed the most recent events mixed with events from different timelines of the past. But don't worry, I'm here to help you with that. I've compiled a timeline mostly based on the show's events, although I had to take the book references from time to time. Before we begin, there are a couple of things you need to know first. First, some things like Geralt's age, Geralt's meeting with Jaskier and Ciri's age, etc. were confusing because they happened in different order in the books than in the show. So whenever there was a clash, I followed the show's order instead of the books, but I'll also tell you what was different. For example, in the books, Ciri is 10 years old during the attack on Cintra, while she is 14 on the show. The show added 4 years to her age and the attack, so I'll consider 14 as her official age, which would mean the attack on Cintra happened in 1266 instead of 1262. Don't worry, it will all get more clear once I'll start discussing the timeline. Second, in order to make things easier to understand, I'm setting the conquest of Cintra in 1266 as the central point. I'll call the events before the attack on Cintra as BC and after the attack on Cintra as AC. These are my terms and are not official, so you won't find these terms anywhere else. And third, I won't be able to put the exact years on some of the events, but what I can do is tell you what had happened when in the chronological order. And most of the years, like Geralt's birth or his meeting with Renfri, etc., aren't mentioned anywhere, so those events will be just guesses. I'll also add 4 years to other events where Ciri is supposed to be 14 on the show. My maths is terrible, so if you think my calculations or the order of the show is wrong, you can tell me in the comments. So, without waiting any longer, let's begin. First, Visenna leaves Geralt with Vesemir.
Ma! Geralt, I've been waiting for you. Visenna. Visenna.
If we look at the oldest event shown in Season 1, this is probably the oldest event so far. In my 10 things you need to know before watching the Witcher video, I discussed the ages of Yennefer and Geralt around the attack on Cintra. I'll post the link to that video in the end, in case you wanna check it out. So in that video, I discussed how Yennefer was around 90 years old in the books, and according to the showrunner Lauren Hissrich, Geralt is around 100 years old on the show.
You know, basically, when we meet Geralt, he's almost 100 years old already, and he's lived a lot of life.
I know in the books, Geralt is probably younger than Yennefer because Mother Nanneke knew him from his childhood. But here, assuming Geralt is around 100, this would be the oldest event after his birth in the timeline, probably somewhere around 1166. And given how Geralt looked very young, probably around 7 or 8, when Visenna left him for Vesemir, you can say Geralt was born around 100 BC and was probably found by Vesemir around 93 or 92 BC. Second, Yennefer's birth and earlier life.
How much for this beast?
6.
4.
Sold. 4 marks.
In the books, Yennefer was born in 1173 on Beltane, or by my way, you can say she was born in 90 BC. So by show's count, she would be born in 93 BC. She was very young probably around 17 years old, when Tissaia brings Yennefer to the school of Aretusa in 1190, which will be 76 BC, aka 76 years before the attack on Cintra. In the books, Yennefer was 13 when she passed her preliminary exams. Third, Geralt became a witcher and set out on his first mission, where he killed a bald man trying to rape a girl.
Want to hear about my first monster? It wasn't 50 miles outside of Cameron. He was huge. Bald head. He pulled that girl from the cart, tore her dress off in front of her father and said, "It's time you met a real man."
Instead of being grateful, the girl and her father were afraid of him.
It took 2 strikes to kill him. They weren't clean. I turned to that girl afterwards. She took one look at me, screamed, and passed out.
Fourth, in 1220, Yennefer and Queen Khalees are attacked by the assassin. 30 years after joining Tissaia, Yennefer travels with Queen Khalees of Lyria to deliver her safely to Lyria. By show's count, this will be 46 BC.
That instead I've gotten to spend the last 3 decades cleaning up stupid political messes.
Fifth, according to the series, a lot of Geralt's decisions were affected by what had happened with Renfri in Blaviken. Geralt had met Renfri before meeting Jaskier, aka Dandelion. I'll call Dandelion Jaskier from now on. 6. In the show, Jaskier met Geralt sometime after what had happened with Renfri, because in their first meeting, Jaskier calls him the Butcher of Blaviken.
Oh, I could be your barker, spreading the tales of Geralt of Rivia, the Butcher of Blaviken.
In the books, Geralt and Jaskier meet for the first time in 1253, where they also get captured by the elves. But this happens after Ciri's birth, which clashes with the show. And since there is a clash, we'll follow the show's timeline. 7th, in 1236, aka 30 BC, almost 15 years before the Banquet of Cintra, Duny saves Calanthe's first husband, King Roegnar's life, and claims the law of surprise for Pavetta.
By tradition, I chose the law of surprise as payment. Whatever windfall he came home to find would be mine.
8th, in the fall of 1251, aka 15 BC, Geralt and Jaskier go to the Banquet of Cintra for the betrothal of Princess Pavetta, where Geralt saves Duny's life and claims Ciri through the law of surprise. Pavetta is pregnant at this point.
You saved my life. I must repay you.
The law of surprise. Give me that which you already have, but do not know. Destiny can go.
9th, if we go by the books, Ciri was born in May of 1252, that is 10 BC, somewhere around the Feast of Beltane, just like Yennefer did. 10. Almost 10 years after the Banquet of Cintra, aka in 1261 or 5 BC, Geralt and Jaskier meet again. According to Jaskier, it has been a decade since they last met.
Yeah, sure, let's just give it another decade.
Jaskier and Geralt accidentally open the amphora of the Jinn, and Geralt meets Yennefer for the first time. Ciri is probably around 9 years old at this point. 11th. Sometime after Geralt and Yennefer's first meeting, they meet again on the dragon hunt, where they have a fight. Yennefer tells him to take responsibility for his child's surprise, and they go their separate ways. 12th. 12 years after the Banquet of Cintra, that is, in 1263, aka 3 BC, Geralt goes to Cintra to check on Ciri.
I've been away 12 years and I planned on staying that way.
Ciri must be 11 years old at this point. I know it looked like the attack happened immediately after his arrival, but we don't really know how long he was locked up in Cintra.
The Witcher. I couldn't let him go. I know what I've done. He's in the gatekeep.
Sometime after separating with Geralt, Yennefer visits Istred and meets Wilberforce, who invites her to the Conclave, where they discuss Nilfgaard's conquest of Cintra and their advance north. Yennefer agrees to fight with them at Sodden. 13th. In the books, almost 11 years after the banquet, Cintra is attacked by the Nilfgaard in the fall of 1262. During the attack, Ciri is 10 years old in the books, but in the show, she is 14 years old. So if we follow the show's timeline, the attack happened 4 years later than the books, that is, 15 years after the banquet in 1266. 14th. Then comes Ciri's storyline, where she is running away from the Nilfgaardians. She meets Tara, goes to the Cintrian refugee camp, and escapes to the Brokilon forest after the attack on Cintra. Sometime after that, she meets Yurga's wife, who takes her to her home. In the books, Ciri was 10 years old when she went to the Brokilon forest, and she meets Geralt for the first time there. 15th. The fall of 1267, aka 1263 in the books. In the fall of 1267, Geralt saves Yurga, aka Yoren from Game of Thrones, and gets severely injured. He is saved by his mother Visenna on his way to Yurga's home, who has offered the Law of Surprise to Geralt.
I can't repay you for saving my life, but what I can offer you is the Law of Surprise, that which I have but don't know.
The Battle of Sodden Hill also took place during this time. Geralt and Yurga can hear the sounds of the battle on their way to Yurga's home. When they reach Yurga's home, Geralt finds out that Ciri is the child surprise Yurga had offered to him. He finds Ciri in the fall of 1267 and takes her to Kaer Morhen in 1 AC. As for what will happen after they go to Kaer Morhen, I'll discuss that in my Witcher Season 2 predictions video. If you liked this video, there will be more Witcher videos coming soon. I've already discussed what The Witcher is all about in my 10 things you need to know before watching the Witcher videos, which you can watch by clicking to the end screen here. My next Witcher video will be The Witcher Season 1 review, which I'll post soon. If you like episode reviews, top 10 and theory videos about many other TV shows, make sure to subscribe this channel and click on the bell icon to turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss my videos. So, what do you think of this video? Don't forget to tell us in the comments. If you like this video, please click on the like button below, share the video and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Bye bye. See you in my next video.